Alright, well so far I'm having a great time out here. It's been cool hanging out with Mark from Oregon Bushcraft and Sean Squatch PNW, Primal Archer, and a handful of other guys. So I wanted to take a little trip off on my own here, but I'm just working my way through the brush here, experiencing a little bit of a different kind of country than I'm used to. So I'm going to try to make a sustaining fire here, just because this country is so wet and so different than what I'm used to. And it's really interesting to me, over on the east side, I can always find really dry twigs up underneath the trees and moss. But here, even this moss that I'm finding here has moisture in it. Alright, so I found this little spot here, and I'm going to try to get a fire going. I'm going to try to use a spark from my fire steel in my day pack and just the materials that I can find. So all of this material is damp and soaked. I gathered up earlier a little bit of this Spanish moss that grows around here. It was damp as well, but I've been carrying it in my pocket for about 2 hours now, and it's nice and dry. What I don't know is if this will take a spark or not. It's a little bit different moss than what I have over on my side of the mountains. And this is kind of a test for me because I'm not used to everything being this damp over here. So I'm going to take this and keep it in my pocket until I'm ready to use it, and I'll keep gathering stuff, and we'll see if I can get a fire out here in this freaking wet west side environment. This is what I'm gathering. All of this stuff is a little bit damp, so the finer the twigs that I can find, the more likely that they will quickly dry under a flame and then actually take flame themselves. So what I'm doing here is I'm just building a little bit of a platform, just enough to keep my fire base up off of this wet soil. Now I've got some of this driest material here, and I'm going to start processing it down. So I'm just processing these into lengths and sizes that I will use for the kindling and the fuel. So here I've got these 2 old logs that'll provide some wind protection. Where my axe is right there is a good place for me to sit while the heat from the fire will follow the slope up to me, and I'll be able to take advantage of that. I built myself just a little framework of a couple of larger twigs, and then I filtered or set all of my smaller ones in on top. So I'll insert my lit tinder underneath here, and this is all the driest, finest material I could find here. So when I put my tinder under there, that heat from the tinder and the flame will hopefully dry and ignite this other material. So I've got my fire lay there, and then here I've staged a bunch of extra kindling and fuel so that I can keep feeding that until I get a sustainable little fire going. By the way, this is a Kafaru Scout Pack. Oh, look at this. I've got some Via. This is the holiday blend. This stuff's the money. So here's my fire kit that I keep in my day pack. I do actually have a couple of commercial tinders in here and a trioxane fuel bar. So I know with those 2 things that I can get fire out here. But I'm going to try with just my fire steel and the natural materials that I've gathered out here. Since I'm not familiar with this Spanish moss, and it seems a little coarser than the old man's beard that I have available on my side of the mountains, I'm going to test a little bit of it and see if it will even take a spark at all. Yeah, I can tell for certain it's not going to take a spark. So I have my hopes set pretty high on this working. So now I'm going to have to figure out another form of tinder.
Wishing I was easy, I can see it. That's when I say no.